Okay, it's happened. I think 70 degrees is cold. My East Coast strength is gone. So, I just finished Afterparties. Okay, so also I'm going to apologize. I'm working on this drawing, all right? And all the fun parts, all the cool, interesting parts, they're done. I'm just doing this red background and it's going to look sick, but watching me work on it, maybe it'll be satisfying watching all these lines get filled in, but it's not going to be super exciting. It's definitely not the most exciting phase of this drawing, but there are no rules. This is my channel. You have to watch. Well, you don't have to, but the video is what I make it, and I don't feel like I just want to finish this. Okay, anyway. So I just read After Parties. It was on the list of best books for 2020 something. One of the last few years. And it won the Farrow Grumbly Award for LGBTQ fiction, which called out to me. I was like, sign me up, I want to read that. I did not notice when I borrowed this book that it was short stories. I normally don't like short stories, so if I had known it was short stories, I might not have read it. So it's good I didn't know, because I ended up really liking it. But man, I was just like, it opens with a story of a mom and her two daughters working at a donut shop, and I was very invested in like what was going on with them. And then you get to the next chapter, it's a different story. But I all of the stories were interesting enough that I didn't mind that I never found out what happened to those three women at the donut shop. But yeah, it draws you in right away. The imagery, the characters, I just fully felt like I knew these people as I was reading about them. And it was kind of, the short story started to grow on me. Like, it was kind of fun knowing, like, oh, I'm about to meet a whole new set of people, and in a matter of sentences or paragraphs, I'm going to feel like I've known them for this whole book. And it focuses on Cambodian people living in California. So I learned a lot about Cambodian history and culture. I knew next to nothing about those things, so that was really cool. I I like books that make me feel like I'm learning something I might never have learned. And I mean, it's kind of not great that I went to school for how many years and didn't learn any of these things, but at least I learned them now, and I might never have learned them because I'm not going back to school, as far as I know. Um, so yeah, a lot of history, and then I really liked the way that everything is presented. Like, you're just meeting these characters and jumping into their lives in this very intimate way, and just really getting to know like what that experience is. And then there were things that I found relatable as like a first generation person, growing up with parents who grew up with a totally different experience than you are, because you're growing up in different countries, different cultures, different comfort levels. They have these expectations because they've come here to give you a better life, and you are too young to understand that. So you're just thinking like, all I want to do is have fun and good food and mess around, So that like disconnect that isn't really born of any kind of spite. I just spit a little bit. It's just interesting. It's the kind of thing that I never even thought of with my parents until I got much older. It would have been nice. It would have been nice maybe to have recognized that as a teenager, but it's fine. And it was comforting kind of to read about, because it's always nice when you see your own experiences reflected in others, so you know that it's relatable, it's not just you, and you've all gotten through it. My favorite things about this book, besides like learning about a culture and a history I didn't know anything about, was probably, it's hard to say, like probably just the openness of the characters and the way, like them being Cambodian or, you know, them being queer or bi was not, it was just casually introduced. It wasn't like a painful thing for any of them. It was just kind of, here it is, and it was just accepted. It was kind of nice reading stories where these things that are considered like minority aspects in America aren't linked with struggle. Like we all know that there's hardships with being different, but it's nice reading stories where it's not about how hard it is to be Cambodian or, you know, be an immigrant, or how hard it is to be, you know, LGBTQ. It was just like, this is who I am and this is my life. And I liked that. I liked that perspective. I liked just getting to know these people for every part of them and not just that part, like how those things play into who they are, but don't overshadow the other parts of who they are. And I did highlight 2 quotes. Let me get to them. How do I even do that? I like that the Libby app like shows you the things you highlighted. So the first thing I highlighted was this story was so relatable. I won't spoil it, but it's like the character that you're listening to is close friends with a cousin who is so just like enigmatic and always kind of the center of attention, and how even though you love that person, it's also like, do you even realize how much I'm catering to you? Like, I am also here. I would also like to be seen. I found that relatable. But there was a quote where someone asks the two of them, like, what time should I come over? And the like enigmatic character says, we're young and beautiful and the concept of time is a fucking buzzkill. And then the like main character is like, you can come around 6. And I just felt like I am totally like, there's 2 types of people, right? And I'm totally the like 6 o'clock person. And I have so many friends who are like, oh my God, what is time? And I love that. I love that dynamic. Oh my God. Curls escaping, twists escaping. I love that. I love those kind of friendships where you have your like deadpan friend and your like head in the clouds friend, and the way that we complement each other is amazing. And then the other thing I highlighted was much later in the book, talking about a woman is recounting a tragic experience to a coworker, and her coworker says something that is meant to be like, oh, look at me, like I'm such an ally. And then she like looks to your main character for approval, and she says, my expression was mine for validation 100 times each day. And I found that really relatable. I think we've all been there at some point or another where you find that like your tragedy is the thing that people want to latch onto to prove that like they get you and they're not like other folks. And then you just find yourself in this spot where you are now having to tell them they're good instead of them listening to and making you feel seen and heard. It's exhausting. And then all you can do, it's like they don't even know they're doing it. They're looking to you because they want that approval, which on one hand you appreciate. It's like, well, I'm glad that you want me to see that you care and you're not oppressing me, but at the same time, like, can you just think of me as a person and not a pathway to your validation? So yeah, this book it brings up all these thoughts while also being like funny and carefree and young and old, and the cover is really cute. So I really enjoyed reading it. I definitely recommend it. I wish it's one of those books I wish I had read like as a younger person, because I would have become smarter. I would have known more things. And also I think it would have been interesting to have all of this context and insight as someone who's like the age group of a lot of the characters in the book. But definitely I wouldn't call it like young adult fiction because like I said, there's such an age range. You're meeting like parents, you're meeting aunties or mas, you're meeting children. It's cool. I liked it a lot. So yeah, that's that. Here's the whole drawing. See, look how many, we're not even going to talk about how many red lines I've drawn. But yeah, it looks cool. It's almost done. It's going to be amazing. Okay, bye.